finally caught it on camera. It's it's Wally in the cuck chair. That's not what this video is about. I'm gonna be honest, there's not really much for this video to be about, but, and you'll see this before you clicked on this video, I had an idea for the thumbnail, and was like, I could probably talk about that for at least a minute, right? This doesn't need to be a video. But it also happens to work out that I don't really care much for power scaling in video games, or in general. I think it is kind of a... I'm trying to think of how to word this without being incredibly insulting to power scalers, but I don't know, maybe they deserve it. I just think that you're doing a disservice to your own enjoyment of like actual content, games, movies, TV shows, life, by arguing over if Goku could beat Excalibur in a fight. But I think one of the biggest issues that I tend to have with power scaling, and it's very noticeable in Warframe, specifically with Hildren, who I've got right here, is the disconnect between lore and gameplay. You know, for video game power scaling, doesn't quite matter for things such as movies, but that disconnect between lore and gameplay, which kind of has to happen, because if the gameplay was exactly the same as the lore, then it would be a pretty boring game. But if the lore was exactly the same as the gameplay, it'd be pretty boring lore. Not to say that the lore is boring, which, you know, even though it would make the gameplay boring, or the gameplay is boring, even though that would make the lore boring. It's just that they need to be two different things. But when you've got all these things, you know, all these people talking about, oh, you know, this Nova can do this, and Limbo can do that, and Hildren can do this, and then they all get one-tapped by a toxic proc, there's just kind of a little bit of a disconnect there. That's it. Those are the two things I had before creating this video. The idea for the thumbnail, and the line, Hildren gets one-tapped by a toxic proc. But it does kind of... There probably is a deeper discussion that could be had about this. It's power scaling discussion, so I don't really care to have it. About that disconnect between lore power scaling and gameplay power scaling for video games. But, again, I just really wanted to say Hildren gets one-tapped by a toxic proc, and I think that the thumbnail is funny. Also, power scalers are like nerds in a bad way. That's like nerd derogatory. Nerd, and then in parentheses, like evil. Not like evil nerd, but like I'm saying it as if I'm evil, I guess. I don't know. I told you I had a sentence in a picture. I didn't think I had 3 minutes. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you're watching this within like probably 7 or 8 hours, guess what? I recorded this video before and accidentally said those two numbers -1, so I'm glad I decided to re-record it. But yeah, if you're watching this within like 7 or 8 hours, there's a decent chance that I'm live right now farming Varuna Prime and Caliban Prime relics. And then tomorrow, so the day after this is uploaded, I'll probably be live. This is on my Twitch, by the way, not YouTube. I'll probably be live opening those relics, trying to get my last pieces that I need for Caliban and Varuna Prime. So if you want to join me for either of those, whether just to watch or to actually farm those things for yourself, feel free. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.